Hello and welcome to another edition of the Starting Lineup. As always, I'm your host, Austin Lass. We have a lot to get to on this week's episode, so let's get right into it. The high school football regular season came to a close last Friday. In just a little bit, we will break down those Week 9 scores and get you ready for the first week of the playoffs. But first, let's take a look at those Week 9 highlights for your Eisenhower Eagles and Utica Chieftains.
Max Whitwer with a quarterback keeper to get the Eagles on the board first. Whitwer with a 51-yard bomb to Ben Metz, bring the score up to 14-0. Whitwer option right to Jack Preventure, pitch out, and that brings us to 21-0. Preventure with another touchdown from 10 yards out. And the Eagles take a 28-point lead. And then Preventure with his hat trick of touchdowns from 56 yards out. Ryan Chargo mishandles a punt, but picks it up and into the end zone for a 47-yard touchdown. Caleb Oyster makes it 49-0 with his 15-yard run. Later, Anthony Toko tacks on a 26-yard field goal. Caleb Oyster, second half kickoff, and no one's catching him. 59-0. Ending with this touchdown by Antonio Gray. Final score, Eisenhower Eagles 66, Ford Falcons 0.
Congratulations to the Eisenhower Eagles defeating the Henry Ford II Falcons 66-0 and an undefeated regular season. And they're special here at Eisenhower. We've had a few of them, but this is a special team.
There's no question it's a special team. These guys like being together. They're got great chemistry. They love being at practice. They have fun, and it just shows up in the game. And they're rooting each other on. There's, guys coming in the second, third quarter. Our starters are rooting those guys on, and it really is special to be around. I'm just proud of the way these guys play, and hope we can continue it.
Week 9 football action in the Macomb Area Conference as your Utica Chieftains travel to Sterling Heights to face off with the Stephenson Titans on senior night. Jerome Cooper will get the scoring started in the first quarter for the Titans as he takes the direct snap up the middle, dives, and scores the game's first touchdown. The extra point is good, and Stephenson would take a 7-0 lead. Utica would answer in the second quarter as Leonard Cason takes the handoff up the middle and forces his way in for a Chieftains touchdown. The extra point is good, and the Chieftains would tie the game at 7 before the half. Now in the fourth quarter, Kayvon Higdon takes the handoff on the end around, and Higdon gets outside, cuts upfield, turns on the Jets, and goes untouched all the way in for a Chieftains touchdown. The extra point is good, and Utica would take a 14-7 lead. This time the Titans would respond as quarterback Todd Poppard throws this rainbow to Jai Hinson in the corner of the end zone, and Hinson makes the catch for a Stephenson touchdown. The extra point is good, and the Titans tie the game at 14. On the ensuing drive, Patrick O'Connor steps back to pass, throws the screen pass over the head of Ryan Ayers, and it is picked off by Angelo Essick, and Essick takes it all the way in for a Titans touchdown. The extra point is good, and Stephenson would take a 21-14 lead. But the Chieftains wouldn't give up as Ryan Ayers takes this handoff in for a Utica touchdown. The Chieftains would go for 2 and the win using this well-designed trick play, and they would convert, taking a 22-21 lead with less than a minute to go. The Titans would get one last chance to win the game off the last-second field goal, but Todd Poppard would miss wide right, and the Chieftains would go on to win by the score of 22-21.
That might have been one of the craziest endings I've seen to a football game. Talk about the decision to go for 2 at the end.
We talked about it earlier today and leading up to it. We knew we had a 2-point play that we were really confident in, and the way the game was going, it was presented to us that we could use it. We were really confident. We knew all that whole drive that's what we were going to do. And we wanted to go for the win, and we felt good about it.
And talk about Patrick O'Connor. You guys, the game got tied. He comes back out, throws an INT, pick 6. What about his confidence to come back out and lead that game-winning drive?
Yeah, I mean he's one of our senior leaders, and he's made up a lot of plays like that in his career. And we talked about it on the sideline when he came off, and we got the offense together, and we said we got to go right back out. We had to score anyways, so that 7 points they got, it was tough and a little bit of adversity, but we knew we had to overcome it, and he drove us down and was a big leader for us.
And talk about Kayvon's play. He seemed to be all over the field on offense and defense. He made a lot of big plays.
Yeah, I mean he's a playmaker for us. He does a lot both offensively and defensively. We try and move him around on both sides of the ball, put him in different spots because we know he's going to be aggressive and he's going to make some plays. So we expect that from him. He's a big playmaker and he's going to have we're excited for his senior season.
And did you have a message for the seniors before or after the game, as far as ending the season on a strong note?
I mean, we just talked about how big of a game it was and how big it was for them because being their last game and being against Stephenson, it's just a huge game for them. We wanted to enjoy it and go off on a great note.
And last question, I heard you in the postgame say that this is a huge program win for Utica. Talk about how this is going to be good for you guys going forward in the future seasons.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about that. It's been a long time since Utica's beat Stephenson, so that was a big win for us, and it gave us a lot of momentum going in the off season. So we hope we can draw off that momentum and keep things going, keep building towards what we want to do in our goals.
I wanted to congratulate the Chieftains for snapping their 10-game losing streak versus the Stephenson Titans. They hadn't beaten the Titans since Week 4 of the 2000 season when they won 25-15. Utica is now 8-26 all-time against Stephenson. And an even bigger congratulations goes out to the Eisenhower Eagles for completing their 8th undefeated regular season in program history. This is the first time the Eagles have finished the regular season undefeated since 2004, and that team ended up losing 24-13 to Dakota in the district final. Let's hope that this team faces a better fate. Now let's go ahead and take a look at how the rest of the teams in the MAC Red and MAC White fared in Week 9. Dakota earned their 6th win on the season and punched their ticket to the playoffs at home with a 55-6 drubbing against the L'Anse Creuse North Crusaders. The Crusaders have now lost 2 straight games and fall to 6-3 on the season. They have also been outscored 12-146 in their 3 losses. Chippewa Valley went on the road and defeated Anchor Bay 42-20. The win was the Big Reds' 4th win in a row, and it got them to 6-3 on the season, and it also earned them a spot in the playoffs. For the Tars, the loss sent them to 5-4, and ultimately prevented them from getting into the playoffs. Romeo also got their 6th win on the season and punched their ticket to the playoffs at home with a 41-0 shutout against the Fraser Ramblers. Fraser ended their season on an 8-game losing streak to finish 1-8 on the season. The Ramblers were outscored by a combined score of 85-260 during their losing streak. One can only expect to see some major changes coming in the offseason for the Ramblers. As we saw earlier, Utica went on the road and defeated Stephenson in a last-second thriller, 22-21. The Chieftains end their season on back-to-back 1-point victories to finish at 4-5 on the season. Stephenson, on the other hand, ends their season on a 6-game losing streak to finish 1-8 on the season. The Titans were outscored by a combined score of 67-209 during their losing streak. As we also saw earlier, Eisenhower shut out the Ford Falcons 66-0 at home in impressive fashion. The win earns the Eagles their 3rd shutout on the season, as well as their 8th undefeated season in program history. And finally, the Warren-Mott Marauders went on the road and defeated the Grosse Pointe South Blue Devils 40-14. The win snaps the Marauders' 2-game losing streak. and gets their record to 7-2 on the season. The loss snaps the Blue Devils' 2-game winning streak as they finish 6-3 on the season. Now let's take a look at the final standings in the Macomb Area Conference. Eisenhower wins the MAC Red with a perfect 5-0 record in the conference and a 9-0 record overall. Warren, Mott, and Romeo tied for second with 3-2 conference records, and Mott finished 7-2 overall, while Romeo finished 6-3. Dakota and Chippewa Valley tie for third as they both finished with 2-3 conference records and 6-3 records overall. And Stephenson finishes in last after going 0-5 in the conference and 1-8 on the season. Grosse Pointe South wins the MAC White after going a perfect 5-0 and in the conference and 6-3 overall. L'Anse Creuse North finishes in second with a 4-1 record in the conference. They also finished 6-3 overall. Utica finishes in third with a 3-2 record in the conference and a 4-5 record overall. Anchor Bay finishes in fourth with a 2-3 record in the conference and a 5-4 record overall. Ford finishes in fifth with a 1-4 conference record and a 2-7 record overall. And Fraser finishes in last after going 0-5 in the conference. Now let's take a look at the playoff matchups for the playoff teams from the MAC Red and MAC White. Starting off in Division 1 in District 2 of Region 2, the 6-3 Romeo Bulldogs will take on the 5-4 Lake Orion Dragons at home. The 6-3 Rochester Adams Highlanders will take on the 5-4 Warren Mott Coursiers at home. The winners of these two games will face off in the district final. Now in District 1 of Region 4, your 9-0 Eisenhower Eagles will take on the 6-3 L'Anse Creuse North Crusaders at home. The Eagles defeated the Crusaders on the road 70-6 in Week 6. The 6-3 Chippewa Valley Big Reds will face off against their rival, the 6-3 Dakota Cougars at home. The Big Reds defeated Dakota at home in a Week 7 thriller 40-38. The winner of these two games will face off in the district final. Now in District 2 of Region 4, the 9-0 Bloomfield Hills Blackhawks will take on the 5-4 West Bloomfield Lakers at home, and the 7-2 Warren Mott Marauders will take on the 6-3 Southfield A&T Warriors. The winner of these two games will play in the district final. And now in Division 2, in District 2 of Region 4, the 6-3 Lakeview Huskies will take on the 7-2 Grosse Pointe North Norsemen at home, and the 6-3 Grosse Pointe South Blue Devils will take on the 6-3 Port Huron Northern Huskies at home. I made my predictions for all of these games, and I have Romeo defeating Lake Orion, Rochester Adams defeating Waterford Mott, Eisenhower defeating L'Anse Creuse North, Dakota defeating Chippewa Valley, Bloomfield Hills defeating West Bloomfield, Warren Mott defeating Southfield A&T, Grosse Pointe South beating Port Huron Northern, and for my upset of the week, I picked Grosse Pointe North to defeat Lakeview. We have to take a quick commercial break, but when we come back, we'll get you updated with the Macomb Area Conference Soccer Playoffs. Stay with us.
So, I got my start in officiating when a friend told me I should try it. At first, I just did basketball, and I got hooked. Before long, I added baseball, softball, football, and volleyball. I really enjoyed giving back to the game, working with kids, and working with my local association to recruit and train new officials. I would like to say to anybody that officiating is a great way to help kids and stay connected to the game. We always need new officials. There's help wanted, just listen.
You're up. There's an old saying, you can never have too many officials. The age of the average official is 52 and getting older all the time. We're constantly recruiting new people, younger people to join us. After you register with the MHSAA, look on the website to find an officials association near you. They'll put you in a position to succeed as an official. We all learned a lot from high school sports, and officiating is a great way to give back to the game. There's help wanted, just whistle.
Welcome back to the starting lineup. As always, I'm your host, Austin Lass. But before we get you caught up with the MAC Boys Soccer Playoffs, let's first take a look at the highlights from the district tournaments for your Eisenhower Eagles and Utica Chieftains.
Pre-district says Utica is taking on Troy Athens in boys soccer. Throwing for Utica. And Ty Surgett puts it in the back of the net, but he was offsides. No goal. Now Troy Athens, Anish Saraswat. Sending this just wide of the left post. More Red Hawk pressure, this time Andy Phillips. But Peter Miney for the Utica Chieftains kicks it away. More Troy Athens pressure. This time, Shamik Patrell. Sending just to the right of the crossbar. Throw in for the Troy Athens Redhawks. Into the box. And right there to head it in is Shamik Petrell again. And Athens takes a 1-0 lead. Cole Valentine sending it off the right post. Troy Athens keeps on bringing the pressure. Sean McConnell, but called offsides. Corner kick for Utica. Sends it in and headed just wide by Justin DeWitt. Free kick for the Redhawks. And a nice save by the Utica goaltender. And the second goal here by Sammy. Rob McCormick sneaks this one past the Utica goalkeeper to bring us to our final score. Troy Athens Redhawks 3, Utica Chieftains 0. Eisenhower and Dakota battling for the district title in boys soccer. Early chance for the Eisenhower Eagles, Matt Shinamataro. Past the goalie, Aiden Gannett for the Dakota Cougars. Jack Burnett sending it into the box. Bouncing off some Eagle defenders. And in the back of the net, Luigi Eidheim. Into the second half. Throw in for Eisenhower. Almost a copycat play. Bounces around Dakota defenders. On the foot of Matthews Barrett. And we're all tied up at 1-1. Then a controversial goal, Matt Wojciechowicz. Throw in, but doesn't hit anybody. A throw-in cannot be counted as a goal unless it touches someone from either team. The referees confirm, and they count it. Dakota's up 2-1. And that's where it would stand as Dakota takes the district title. Final score, Dakota Cougars 2, Eisenhower Eagles 1.
A very tough loss for the Eagles as they lose the district final to Dakota by the score of 2-1 off a somewhat questionable good goal call, and an early exit for the Chieftains as they fall 3-0 to the Troy Athens. Now let's get caught up with the rest of the Division I soccer playoffs. Starting off in District 9 in the first round, Grosse Pointe South defeated Detroit Western 1-0. Grosse Pointe North defeated Oak Park 6-0. Hamtramck defeated Cass Tech 9-1. And UD Jesuit defeated Dearborn Fordson 3-1. In the second round, Grosse Pointe North defeated Grosse Pointe South 2-0. And Hamtramck ended up defeating UD Jesuit 4-2. Grosse Pointe North went on to beat Hamtramck in the district final 3-1. Now in District 12 in the first round, Dakota defeated L'Anse Creuse North 5-1. Port Huron Northern defeated Port Huron 8-1. Eisenhower defeated Anchor Bay 6-0. In the second round, Dakota defeated Port Huron Northern 8-0. Eisenhower defeated Romeo 4-0. And as we saw earlier, Dakota would go on to beat Eisenhower in the district final 2-1. Now in District 10, Sterling Heights defeated Warren Mott 5-2. As we saw earlier, Troy Athens defeated Utica 3-0, and Utica Ford defeated Warren Cousino 4-0. In round 2, Troy Athens defeating Sterling Heights 5-0, and Stephenson defeated Utica Ford 4-3. Troy Athens would go on to beat Stephenson in the district final 3-1. And finally, in District 11, in the first round, Warren De La Salle defeated Lakeshore 5-1. Fraser defeated Chippewa Valley 3-2. L'Anse Creuse defeated Roseville 5-2. In round 2, De La Salle defeated Fraser 4-2. And Lakeview defeated L'Anse Creuse 5-1. De La Salle went on to beat Lakeview 2-0 in the district final. Now in the Division I Regional 3, Dakota beat Grosse Pointe North 4-0, and Troy Athens beat De La Salle 2-0. Dakota will take on Troy Athens in the Division I Regional 3 final on 10/28 at 7 p.m. The winner will move on to the state semifinals to face off against Rochester, who won the Division I Regional 4 final. Well, that is all the time that we have for this week's episode. Make sure to tune in next week as we get you caught up with the results of the opening round of the playoffs and get you ready for the district finals. We will also get you caught up with the boys soccer and girls volleyball playoffs. Until next time, you can check out our full-length games, game highlights, and previous episodes on the Shelby TV website and YouTube page. This is Austin Lass saying so long for everyone here at Shelby TV. See you next time here on the Starting Lineup.